Last season we took over at Liverpool, made some exciting signings but bombed out of the Champions League and bottled the title on the last day of the season. And as we enter season 2, it's time to make some new signings to take this team to the next level. Now this team still have some large question marks looming over their heads heading into the new season. With all of my attacking players wildly underperforming and not really having a standout player to lead the line for me, there's a question over whether or not I need an upgrade on Darwin Núñez and what's going to be the best position for the Portuguese Diogo Jota. After falling out with Mo Salah at the very beginning of season 1, meaning that his performances weren't up to scratch on the right-hand side of midfield, you'll see that I decided to shift him from that side right into the centre of the park. And whilst he did end up my top goal scorer with only 13 goals in 31 Premier League appearances, is a serious underperformance from the 32-year-old Egyptian, and it raises the question about whether or not I should shift him back to his more natural right-wing position. And finally, with me potentially wanting to find suitors for Joe Gomez, with me not believing the 28-year-old Englishman is good enough, and with my experienced captain Virgil van Dijk submitting a transfer request midway through last season, a huge question mark hangs over the head as to what is going to happen to this man's future at the club. So without further ado, it's time for us to dive straight into the action here at the beginning of season 2. And it is an absolute bombshell to kick off season 2, because that is right, the captain, the man mountain, the world-class Dutchman, Virgil van Dijk, has played his final game in a Liverpool shirt. He handed in a transfer request midway through last season and he just wasn't the same ever since. He's had enough of his time at Liverpool and wants to explore pastures new. And with Real Madrid coming in with a bid of £40.6 million, it was too good for both he and I to turn down. And with Mamardashvili returning from his loan spell in Spain to now properly compete with Alisson, there is no room for the Irishman Kelleher as he departs to Stade Rennais for £8.4 million. Nat Phillips also follows him out the door for 2.6, and as you can see, the defensive revolving door just continues to stay wide open, because Joe Gomez, not doing enough in season 1 to prove that he is going to be the heir to Virgil van Dijk, will be another defender to see the door here at the Liverpool training centre, as he's off to Marseille for £18.5 million. And with them gone, you'll also notice there's several other fringe players and younger players in the team who have departed, either on a permanent basis or on loan, as I look to try and trim down this overinflated squad. All of those departures have given me an eye-watering £226 million to spend, and with Joe Gomez and former captain Virgil van Dijk gone, it's time to begin in defence. Now, over the course of season 1, with so many of you giving me so many different potential suggestions, I feel like there's a very similar path that I'm potentially going to have to follow, and that is to potentially bring in a huge name replacement to be the replacement for that man Virgil van Dijk, and perhaps an even younger player who's got the potential to grow and develop here at Liverpool to be Joe Gomez's replacement instead. And it's Joe Gomez's replacement where we're going to start. I've spoken about the need to look for a left-sided defender, and I've also spoke about the need and the importance of Premier League experience, and having been absolutely battered from pillar to post from a defensive standpoint by this man earlier in the season when I faced off against Nottingham Forest, it only makes sense that I would return once again to the now 23-year-old Brazilian, because that is right, Murillo is going to be the first signing here at Liverpool Football Club in season 2 as he joins from Forest for £20 million. At 80 rated, he comes in exactly where Joe Gomez left off, but with him being 23 years of age, the young man still has time left on his side. But as you can see, with me just having him, Kwanzaa and Kanate as the only centre-backs at the club, it's time to go for the big name. And with the likes of Edmund Tapsoba already being snapped up by Manchester City, the likes of Sven Botman being held onto like an iron grip by Newcastle, he's a man who's been recommended to me by one of my top scouts, and he's a man who I just cannot pass up the opportunity to sign. Someone who obviously has Premier League experience at the highest level with Chelsea, and after reinventing himself heading off to Milan in Serie A, he's desperate for the chance in his prime years to show the Premier League what it's missed. That is right, it's time to welcome the big name, the second signing here at Liverpool this season, as Fikayo Tomori will join the Liverpool Revolution here at Anfield and sign for a colossal fee of £52 million. At 85 rated, he comes in as my number 1 centre-back, and I think he's of a good age and a good rating overall to replace that man Virgil van Dijk. He's got all the physical stats that I need to play a high line, and now all I've got to do is just hope that he and Kanate can form a formidable partnership for me at the back this season. Now, with me wanting to move Mo Salah back over to his more natural right-hand side, whilst I have the likes of Dominic Szoboszlai, potentially Gravenberch and Harvey Elliott, all of whom can play in that central attacking midfield role, they aren't quite at the required level to match up to Mo Salah's standard. However, with Diogo Jota not really fulfilling his potential last season and not getting the number of goals that I was hoping for, and with him not really fitting into the type of striker that I feel like I need to lead the line for me heading into season 2, I'm going to change up his development plan. I'm going to focus him to be my brand new central attacking midfielder, meaning that I'm going to have to bring in a new number 9 to try and compete with this man Darwin Núñez. And after reviewing my shortlist and all of your transfer suggestions, I feel like there is one clear man for the job. A man who has lit up the Bundesliga over the last few seasons for Bayern Leverkusen, and another man entering his prime years who I think is ready to take the next step in his career and move to the Premier League. At 6'3", an absolute raw power, he's got all the attributes that I'm looking for to lead the line for me this season, because that is right, Victor Boniface is going to be the next man through the door as he joins for £60 million. He is a step up from Darwin Núñez, he's an absolute unit. And with me changing around a few of my players in my starting 11, he is going to go straight up front to lead the line for me this season. And one final thing you may have noticed before we kick off our first game of the campaign is that with Virgil van Dijk departing, it seems like Ibrahima Konate has picked up the captain's armband. However, with me not quite sure whether or not the Frenchman is at the required level, and with there being a clear and obvious candidate to take his place, I believe it is only right that the homegrown star Trent Alexander-Arnold takes the captaincy and becomes Liverpool Football Club captain. But before I go any further, it's now time for a shameless plug. After hitting 5,000 subs, I've decided to create a Patreon account, link in my bio in the video description. I'm hoping to bring you lots of different types of content this year, so if you are enjoying the channel and would like the chance to feature more regularly in my videos, any support would be greatly appreciated and go a long way to helping me create better quality content more often. Thanks everyone. It's time now though for match day number 1, and my goodness, what a match day it's about to be, because we're heading to the Emirates against Arsenal, away from home, first game of the season. 2 of my 3 new signings will start. Tomori obviously at the back and Victor Boniface up front. As you can see, Jota slots back into that central attack midfield role. Salah shifts back out to the right hand side. Let's see what we can do here today. So it's Rabiot for Arsenal to get things started here with a short throw into Martinelli, and the Frenchman plays a lovely ball back into the Brazilian, and this time it's Konate who comes across with a big challenge. Alisson short into Tomori, and that's his first touch in a Liverpool shirt, and it's a good touch to get himself away from danger. Adam Wharton finds himself on the left-hand side of defence, but he's done a really good job of wriggling away from the challenge of the attackers here as Luis Diaz goes into the centre, loses it though in a dangerous position, and Arsenal now have the chance to counter. It's Martinelli, he's beaten Konate to the ball, and he's beaten Alisson to the back of the net. 30 minutes in, Arsenal take a wonderful lead after an incisive counter-attack. Well, it all came from Luis Diaz trying to go central, losing it in a really dangerous position inside his own half, and Martinelli skipped away from Konate and he had space to pick his spot, and my word, he did just that. Alisson, could he have done better perhaps? But Arsenal won't care one bit, 1-0. That's certainly not really the start that we've been hoping for here. In the opening 15-20 minutes, it's been pretty much all Arsenal. Luis Diaz, though, back into Victor Boniface on his debut, on his left, straight at the goalkeeper, but it's our first chance of the game. Martinelli, well challenged by Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold looking for Mo Salah, he's offside. Punted clear with that free kick, but Tomori with a big towering header there to win the ball back and plays it into Mo Salah. Nods it down into Victor Boniface. Looks to line up the strike. Oh my goodness, that is an absolutely fabulous way to start your Liverpool campaign. Well, let's look at the replay. It looked like he could have taken an extra touch or two to drive into the penalty area, but he decided he did not need it. And my goodness, the power shot, too powerful for David Raya. And Liverpool equalised 28 minutes on the clock. What a way to start your Liverpool debut. Absolutely fantastic from the Nigerian. And he's got the chance to get in here again as he's managed to get away from the defender. And I smashed to try and tackle. And in the end, not realising I was going to win the ball, ended up taking a shot, and that was a bit of a missed opportunity there. Odegaard, oh, that's a lovely ball through to Saka down the left-hand side, and Andy Robertson's nowhere to be seen. Wharton comes across to try and cover, doesn't do a good enough job of doing so, and Alisson is forced into a save. He palmed it back into the penalty area, and we were lucky that there was a Liverpool defender on hand to clear it away. This game is really starting to open up. I have switched back to world class after getting absolutely battered on legendary at the very end of season 1, but I have changed the sliders a little bit to make it a little bit more competitive, and my word, you are seeing that here today. Wharton. Diaz has come central. Diaz looking for the run of Victor Boniface. Has he strayed offside? Yes, he has. Well, we begin the second half, 1-1 here, but I don't really think the scoreline tells the proper story. My goodness, we've made a habit of doing that across season 1, and it looks like we've started off doing the exact same thing here in season 2. Giving the ball away right from kickoff at the beginning of the second half and really putting ourselves under a bit of danger, and we've almost done the same thing again. We can't clear our lines here as Declan Rice threads a lovely ball through into Saka on the edge of the box. Tomori came across corner. It's one that Declan Rice is going to take. He swings it into the box, looking for Ben White. Good save from Alisson. Brazilian throws it clear out to Mo Salah, who's been fairly fairly quiet so far since shifting over to the right-hand side, but that's a lovely ball through into Alexander-Arnold, and Alexander-Arnold's waiting for a run here. He does wait for the run, and he does find the run of Mo Salah, and the Egyptian now, what options has he got in the box? Waiting for the run of Boniface, doesn't need Boniface, instead picks out Andy Robertson into Tamori, the centre-back who's high. And in the end, the chance goes begging. Gabby Jesus, he's got Saka out on the right-hand side. Tamori has not been able to put the challenge into the Englishman, and Rabiot's here. Oh my goodness, it was a wonderful chance for Arsenal that they absolutely ballooned high and wide. Well, it seems like Konate has picked up a slight knock here, and with Salah and Diaz not performing particularly well either, I'm making a triple change. And it's going to be Murillo who's going to get his opportunity to make his debut in front of the travelling Liverpool fans. Tamori's given that one away, straight into the feet of Martinelli here, right on the edge of the box. Tries to lay it back into the pass of Kiwior. He does play it back, and the left back plays it back into the Brazilian. Rabiot has a second chance to strike, and once again he can't find the target. I mean, that is two huge opportunities that have been gifted to the Frenchman, and two opportunities that he has not been able to take. And is that a sign here that we're going to be able to try and capitalise, as Chiesa plays a wonderful ball over to Trent Alexander-Arnold, waiting for the run of Victor Boniface into the box. He finds the big man who nods it down, forces the goalkeeper into a save. It's Trent who's going to take the resulting corner, firing it into the penalty spot once again, looking for the big man who can't quite get his head on it this time though. Cleared away by the Arsenal defence. Odegaard stretching his legs down the right hand side. Murillo comes across to do enough to block off the challenge, but Saka once again has picked it up. Absolutely everything has gone through the Arsenal talisman so far here today. Ben White down the right hand side, but Murillo, really good way to start your Liverpool debut here with two good challenges. But I thought they were two good challenges, but in the end, seems like the referee did not, because he's given away a free kick here. But now Boniface has the chance to try and see if he can release anyone down this right-hand side. Looking for the ball over to Trent. Can Trent get there? No, he can't. Good defending. Well, we've got about 3 minutes plus stoppage time left remaining on the clock here for one of these two teams to try and see if they can break the deadlock here. At the moment, it doesn't seem like either of them are going to do enough to claim 3 points, but Trent has got some space on the right-hand side, and he's waiting for the runners in the box yet again. Can Victor Boniface make it onto the ball? He does with the volley. Forces the goalkeeper into another save. Well, I tell you what, an astute signing so far Victor Boniface is proving to be, because if we are going to score, it looks like it's going to come through the big man as Jota tries to nod it down to him. Jota tries to win the second ball. He does. Out to Adam Wharton as the referee calls time. Well, it was an end-to-end affair here at the Emirates, and one where the spoils are shared, because it finishes here full-time 1-1. And whilst we didn't get the 3 points, I'm sure this man will be absolutely delighted with his performance. A thunderous strike, an 8.4 rating in his first game in a Liverpool shirt, a goal on his debut. Long may it continue. As for the other starting debutant, Fikayo Tomori, he's got a 7.3 rating. To be completely honest, I wasn't 100% satisfied with his performance. He looked a little bit shaky. There were a few nerves. Hopefully he can calm those as the season progresses. One problem we do have though is he's going to have to calm them without his defensive partner Ibrahim Konate, because after suffering a knock to his knee, he's gone and sprained it, meaning he's going to be out for the next 4 weeks. It's an opportunity though for the likes of Yerel Kwanzaa and also Murillo to step up, and with Murillo showing some decent signs with a decent performance off the bench against Arsenal, and he is going to be the man to get the nod here as we're heading straight into our second game of the Premier League campaign. And it's not going to get any easier, because we're going to be kicking off back at Anfield, but it's going to be against the reigning Premier League champions Manchester City. 2 changes from the team that drew against Arsenal. As you know, Murillo comes in at the back to partner Tamori, but apart from that, after a poor showing, Diaz drops to the bench, replaced by Gordon on the left-hand side. Here we go then, after the disappointment on the final day of the season, getting beaten to the title once again by Manchester City. This is our chance to right the wrongs here, as Victor Boniface tries to see if he can right the wrongs by going past Ruben Diaz, and he goes it alone, and he forces the goalkeeper into an early save. Doku tussling with McAllister, wins it back though, plays it into Gundogan, and he gets it back for his troubles, and he's going to try and see if he can burst down this left-hand side, go past Trent. He can't. Erling Haaland, tries to see if he can go past Tamori. He can't do either. My defence holding firm so far in the opening 10 minutes. Cross to Doku yet again. Everything seeming to go down this right-hand side of Manchester City so far this game. But once again, my defence has held firm here. And once again, Mo Salah's going to look to try and see if he can play in. Victor Boniface here, trying to see if he can get there ahead of Nathan Ake. He can. He's going to try and strike once again from outside of the box. But this time he drags it wide. I'll tell you what, If only one game and 15 minutes into the second is anything to go by, the Nigerian has been an absolutely brilliant signing so far. He's absolutely bullying defenders at the back. He's had opportunities to score more than just the one goal, and hopefully he can continue that here today against City. But it's Doku once again back into the path of Erling Haaland. Checks his run and checks back. This time Erling Haaland does play it into Kevin De Bruyne. A lovely pass into Phil Foden. Forces Alisson into his first save of the game. It's a corner though. The Englishman is going to be the man to take, and he's going to fling it into the edge of the 6-yard box. Alisson punches after pressure from Erling Haaland. It falls back into the path of Phil Foden. Tries to muscle his way past the defender. Can't. We get a goal kick. Out to Jan Couto, seemingly the replacement for Kyle Walker on the right-hand side of the Manchester City defence. And City now starting to creep their way into this game with Phil Foden looking to try and see if he can escape the clutches of my two centre-backs. He cannot escape the clutches of Murillo though. Great defending from the Brazilian as Adam Wharton loses it in a dangerous position. Back into the feet of Phil Foden. They're wriggling around, trying to find space. They do find space on the left-hand side. Jeremy Doku, into the box he goes. Blocked off by Trent though. Great defending once again. Alexis McAllister under pressure but gets away from that pressure. Gordon, pass back into Andy Robertson. Looks for Boniface, finds Boniface. Boniface looks to go out to Mo Salah. Can't quite find the Egyptian. Does manage to find Alexander-Arnold though. And Alexander-Arnold is going to look to try and see if he can play a teasing ball back into the big man who just heads it wide again. Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland looking to go straight down the pipe here. He's waiting for the run, waiting for the option to find Phil Foden. He does find Phil Foden. Lovely pass around Alisson. And in the end, he just couldn't wrap his foot round the shot. And it's gone high and wide. That's a huge let-off for us and a big miss for City. The second half begins and it's 0-0. But once again, I feel like the scoreline doesn't truly reflect the performance. Both teams have had decent enough chances. You could argue City have created the more clear-cut ones. But so far, neither team can take their chances. Doku with the throw. Lovely little dummy into the path of Gavardio. And the Belgian gets it back. And look at him sprinting down the left-hand side. Alexis McAllister cannot keep up with him. He's just too quick. Lovely ball in the box. Foden once again is blocked off by Alisson. It falls to Rodri though, back into Kevin De Bruyne. City really starting to take a stranglehold on this game, and we can't seem to escape the clutches of our own half here. Adam Wharton though, into the feet of Mo Salah. The Egyptian tries to weave and turn away. He does do just that, and he is away. And look at the pace that he's showing to get away from both Gavardio and Gundogan, and he's waiting for the run here. Oh, Victor Boniface, can he find the ball into him? He can. Thumping header, Edison palms over the bar. Well, there can be absolutely no doubt that the Nigerian is the target man for me. Every single chance that goes into the box almost falls into his path. And my goodness, Jota nodded it down once again. He did something similar against Arsenal in the first game. We couldn't take advantage then, and we couldn't take advantage now either. Phil Foden looking to escape the clutches of another Englishman in Adam Wharton. Does just that and feeds it into the path of Kevin De Bruyne here, who's got space to pick out a pass to Gundogan. Those two veterans in the city centre of the park are doing a wonderful job here as they feed it into Erling Haaland, who has just strayed offside. Into Mo Salah. He finds the run of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Good ball. And Trent now once again. It's the standard affair here so far in this game. Looks for the ball over to Victor Boniface. Takes on the volley. And that is an absolutely wonderful way to double your tally here in a Liverpool shirt. 2 games in, 2 goals. And look at the dance. The bench love him. The fans absolutely love him. What a welcome addition to Anfield he has been. On his home debut, he took it down on the chest. And he had the wherewithal and the time and the power to pick his spot. That is a wonderful touch and volley right into the bottom left-hand corner, and Liverpool take the lead 1-0. And just after that goal, it's a triple substitution as we look to try and see if we can hold on to it. Kevin De Bruyne into Jan Couto. Phil Foden, 72 minutes on the clock here. Phil Foden feeds it into Erling Haaland, shifts it onto his left, forces Alisson into a flying save. It falls into the path of Silvinho down that left-hand side, who seems like he's come on for Jeremy Doku. Now back into Kevin De Bruyne. Gavardio can't get past the captain that is Trent Alexander-Arnold, and now we've got the opportunity to break here. Victor Boniface, who's running on absolute fumes here, manages to keep up his run and looking to play a path into that man, Diogo Jota, on his right, into the top left-hand corner. Liverpool double their lead, 78 minutes on the clock. Once again, Victor Boniface turns goal scorer to creator, and he lays it on a plate for Diogo Jota, who just running in from deep seems so much more comfortable in that central attacking midfield role. He took it on his right, but it does not matter which foot. All that matters is he whacked it into the back of the net, and we lead 2-0 here at Anfield. Kevin De Bruyne Into the feet of Gundogan. Oh, that's a defence spinning pass out to Savinho on the left-hand side. City are not letting their heads drop in spite of going 2-0 down. Erling Haaland smashes it though against Yarrow Kwanzaa, and Trent can't get rid of the ball. Haaland into the box he goes. Kevin De Bruyne this time straight into the arms of Alisson. Andy Robertson right across to Trent, who is so wide on that right-hand side. Having these wing-backs instead of these inverted full-backs is proving so much better for me at the moment, and I feel like I've got so many more options in attacking areas as the referee is looking at his watch. We are deep into stoppage time here. Victor Boniface running on fumes, never stops pressing, neither does the Liverpool team as we reach full-time. And it's heartbreak for Manchester City. They know, despite us just being 2 games into the Premier League campaign, that was such an important game. A potential title decider already. Look at the celebrations here at Anfield as Diogo Jota leads the charge and leads a 2-0 victory against City. Well, last season we started off with a 1-0 defeat to newly promoted Ipswich and a 3-0 battering against Brentford. This season is completely different. Top of the Premier League table after facing City and Arsenal. 4 points to our name, 3 goals and 1 conceded. A brilliant start to life for some of our Liverpool debutants, and long may it continue. Is this what things are supposed to feel like at Liverpool Football Club? Because that is going to be that for the end of today's episode. Thank you everyone for joining me, and thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again next time.